you want them. I think they're bigger than those.
I think I'll survive. Where do I want
you
to be?
can
You want
have
me forward?
them.
Want me forward? Right here? This is good.
I think it's good. Hey, I'm gonna see what size they are, and then I'll gift them to you.
Or are they just sitting in your garage? Because
yeah, I don't use them.
that'll be the next time we can actually measure them.
Yeah,
When
I don't.
come over,
I don't
we
use
can
them.
tackle that. All right, I'm here again. Bad Beards Podcast is back after the break. We had a happy holiday,
Yes.
and who would I rather have back on the couch other than John Cooper?
Thank you.
This
I
is
appreciate
his.
it.
This is his third installment on my
Third.
show. This will be the second televised version.
Yep.
The first one was a little trial and error.
It was a lot of loud noise. And,
It was a lot of motorcycles.
Yeah, a lot of motorcycles
Yeah.
and music. Yeah,
And I can't say that we'll have that today, but in our hearts, we'll be rocking.
we're always rocking.
Yeah. Well, so we've already been here hanging out for a while, and we've had lots of conversations as we do. But what's the latest in the land of John? What's going on with you? We are what was probably January 7th, 8th right now.
Yeah, I think it's the 8th.
It is the new year.
Definitely. Yeah, new year, new me.
Oh, don't change, John.
No, I'm kidding. It's the same old me. I don't ever change. I'm on the same goofball that I always am. Everything's good. There's not much new. It's been a trying past year. Luckily, I got some work through it, which I'm very fortunate to the people that gave that to me, Jennifer Badger, and it's been a fantastic, easy holiday.
Yeah.
I was happy my wife got, so we like to go to Clayton, Georgia, which is this little mountain town. And there's a place there called the White Birch Inn. And it's just
Where's Clayton, Georgia? That's north?
It's north. If you go up, so we have to go down around 285 and then up 85, 985. So it's up in the northeast of the state. And we go up there because of, it's just cool. There's outdoor stores and, we just go up there and just screw around and
take in the sights and sounds.
Yeah. And that White Birch Inn, it's one of those places where you go and it's all inclusive. So it's in a building, right in the downtown, and you go in and, the rooms are there and it has breakfast the next day, and it's real breakfast. Like you order it the night before breakfast.
Yeah.
And so we went there and she took me out to dinner at this cool new restaurant, and they gave me a personalized birthday card.
Yeah.
So I guess they asked her some information about me, and then the birthday card was on the table. It was signed by the whole staff. It had lights, camera, action on it. They custom made the whole card. It was really cool.
Anybody could do that. If you're a business owner out there and you got devil's in the details, guys,
Man,
just take a little bit of time to
it
do
is.
a decent job.
And it made my day.
Yeah.
So, it was good. It was good.
Well, so you're talking about having a pleasant holiday, but you expressed a pretty wild year.
Oh, dude.
In retrospect, what was this? What happened this last year?
What's funny is we talked about this right as
the year
I think as the year was beginning and I was like, yeah, man, it's going to be a wild year.
We were like, wow, look at that dumpster fire. It's getting pretty warm.
Dude, yeah. And the dumpster, not only was it on fire, it just rolled away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just kind of took off and everybody's trying to chase it and put it out. And what a mess.
Yeah.
Man, what a mess. And it was funny because all the stuff we talked about, how the industry was changing and how all that stuff was going on. Are we allowed to cuss? I forgot.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
And all that shit, how that shit was going down, we all talked about it, and it totally came true.
Yeah.
Everything about it, just a monstrous wow.
Well, and so for those listening at home that aren't hip to the plight of a stuntman, SAG went through a massive strike. It was first the writers, then us. A lot of it for deals and dealings with AI and proclivities therein. And people were like, no, fear not. Our union's going to take care of us.
Our actors are gonna follow us. They're gonna take care of us. Yeah, they screwed us.
Well, and it was a lot of these background artists. They placate to them and they give them the sweetheart deal that they thought.
Yep, and then turned them right over and bent everyone over.
Yeah,
I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah,
and it's still happening. Like, look at all. I don't know if you watch a lot of TV. I don't really watch a lot of TV, but one person in the household does. So you'll see these commercials, and the commercials are all with, like named actors now. So, you don't really see that usually unless times are bad. Then you'll start seeing, Will Ferrell doing a freaking Twix commercial or some shit.
No, what's he doing right now? It's he sings a song.
Yes.
It's like an insurance or something.
It's something like that. Yeah, like a Farmers or something.
Yeah, Farmers Only probably if it's Will Ferrell.
Farmers Only.
Yeah.
Only farmers.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's doing that, and you're starting to see all these other actors that are doing it. And
well, would you say that's because they see the writing on the wall and they're trying to cash in while they still can?
I think they're just trying to cash in. I don't even know that that's the writing on the wall. It's just the downturn of what's going on. So a lot of the people that were working aren't working. And so they're like, all right.
Well, so what is going on, John? What is happening right now today in the industry?
All right. So this is my take. Now I'm just
hot take.
I'm just Johnny Cooper from, Atlanta, Georgia. So so what's happened is we'll go back to we'll jump in the Wayback Machine and go back to COVID. So COVID landed and just, decimated everything for a while. And then you had the pioneers that got it going on. Tom Cruise, I think, was one of the first people to shoot.
Tom who?
That. Tom Cruise.
Not familiar.
Yeah, he's just some guy.
Okay.
Some short guy.
Yeah.
So he started up with, I want to say it was Top Gun or something. It was something that he started up or maybe it was Mission Improbable, but and then Red Notice popped up. So you had, Dwayne The Rock and Ryan Reynolds doing their thing. So then other productions started coming online, but it was just a mess. It was a madhouse. I mean, you're getting, nose raped every day.
The COVID police.
Yes, sometimes twice a day.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insanity. Which brought us to the COVID police and the Gestapo who would run around set and just lay waste to every bit of decorum on set. It was great.
I felt like I dodged a few COVID police at times because on a dark soundstage, this whole beard looks like a mask.
It does, yeah.
And so they would always be running around like mask up. And
as long as you did this. There you go. There you go.
Gone.
Purse your lips. Much of the power comes from the lips, and so after that, everything kind of laid up, kind of let up. The COVID police got phased out, which was interesting to watch them lament about losing their jobs that popped up out of nowhere.
Didn't exist.
Yeah, pretty much. And so then, writer strike. And the writer strike hit hard. And so, of course, the writers are picketing. So actors are going over and picketing, with them. And I think that one guy was that Adam Conover guy. Adam, and which is interesting because Adam ruins everything. It's the name of his show. And he's just on the front lines yelling, screaming, and all this stuff, which is fine. I mean, that's what we do as unions. We support other unions and guilds. So they hit, and then the actors hit. And so you had all of these actors, showing up on picket lines, like big named actors. And as far as I knew, they only showed up once. I don't know. Maybe they showed up more, but it just didn't feel genuine to me. And so then, of course, we get our deal. But everybody suffered. Yeah. Everybody suffered at that point from, the crafty table.
Boy, and how many months had transpired at that point? That was
8, I think.
8 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there were lucky ones. I was lucky. I was on Bad Boys 4 during that whole thing. And, we didn't get picketed. So as long as you get picketed, you worked.
Because there's lots of little workarounds and caveats. Like it was already,
Well, the way they picketed here in Georgia was insanity too. I mean, they had, in California, like they were lined up, bro. They were, lockstep marching around these studios. I mean, studios were coming out, like they tore down the trees around, was it Universal or something, or Paramount?
Just to sweat them out?
Just to sweat them out, yeah. They're like, fuck those trees, And, but here in Atlanta, what they did is we saw them one day, and they loaded up a van with some picketers, and they hit the different studios, and they were there for like 2 hours.
That's right.
Yeah, and I remember the case of one guy. I can't remember who this actor was, big actor, but they were down at Trilith shooting, and they picketed Trilith. And so the production was like, yeah, all right, we're going to show you. So they helicoptered the actor in over the woods behind Trilith and like flew his ass in and landed him in Trilith. So you had that kind of stuff going on. They're fighting it, you know, creative workarounds, they like to call it. And so now you had all that transpire and all that's taken care of, and it looks like we're about to start going. But then there's other unions. Their collective bargaining stuff comes up, and everybody wants a piece of the pie, man. I mean, I get it, you know. I'm a Teamster. Teamsters want a piece of the pie, and so you had that going on, and then
just to interject at this stage, from my vantage point, you know, I take what information I can gather and glean from guys like you and our Allens and industry, you know, insiders that purport this, that, or the other. I don't know one way or another what's happening or what we're doing, if this is right, if this is wrong. I'm going with the flow, and if this is what we're doing, we're all in it together.
Yeah.
And so we wait, you know, and
collectively wait.
Collectively wait.
Yep. And then we all waited right into the.
We tell each other like, oh, we think it's about to start rolling out for this, but then we're like, well, we got to see what the IATSE's going to do.
Yeah. What's IATSE going to do? Okay. Well, IATSE ain't going to do shit. So what's the Teamsters going to do?
What's the Teamsters going to do?
Well, the Teamsters are going to do shit. I mean, plain and simple, man. Teamsters are going to get what they want, and that's it. So everybody got kind of what they wanted, sort of, so to speak. Right. And then everybody said, well, fuck it. All right, y'all got what you want. We're going to Europe.
Yeah.
And we're going, you know, overseas. And that's it. And so that's where everything's at now. Which is interesting because, you know, I hear stories from friends that go over and work, and they're like, oh, man, it ain't what it's supposed to be over here.
Yeah.
Like there was a show that had a big car chase, you know, and this is the story I got. But they had a big car chase, and they didn't pay off the local guy and grease the fat, so to speak. So the morning that they were supposed to shoot, they came and pulled all their permits, told them GTFO. And they're like, oh, shit. So now they had to fly everybody back over to the States, iron that shit out, and then fly them all back over. So where did you really save money? You know, maybe you did. I don't know. Maybe.
When, again, for the casual listener that's not familiar with the ins and outs of the industry, what John is speaking to is the fact that when the strikes happened and studios had to sit on their hands, they go, oh, well, we'll show you how we operate. And so then they and equally with scheduling, everything like that, you got to book stuff out in advance. And so rather than wait for the dust to settle from the strikes, they just FO'd overseas. Outsourcing as it is. So that's what you're saying.
Where we're at kind of right now. Is they went over there. But the problem is, you know, you got Marvel that went over there. But when you know, Hollywood is a constant battle for incentives. I mean, we all know it. You know, that's the only reason Georgia really blew up is we got a kick-ass incentive. So now other states are jumping on that bandwagon. And Georgia's apparently gotten a little bit tougher on their incentives. So people are like, oh, well, you know, Ohio is over here. But with the incentives comes a growing period. So like if you go to Ohio and, you know, it's like, all right, we're gonna blow up. This is the next Hollywood. It's Ohio wood.
Yeah.
You got nobody there.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and they'll bring in the big boys, you know, big boys and girls. They'll bring in the department heads and all that stuff. But the lower guys down the tier, they don't want to bring them in. They want cheap labor.
Yeah. But
there's no cheap labor out there like there is in Atlanta. So Marvel's finding that out the hard way, I think, because they went to Europe, and Europe already has a thriving film industry. I mean, they got a lot of stuff going on over there. Most of the best actors come from Europe. You know, they're all classically trained. And
Doctor Who, have you seen it?
Doctor Who. And so Marvel jumped over there, and Marvel comes rolling in swinging hammers. But everybody's already working on shit, and they don't care that it's Marvel. Like, well, you know, I can work on Doctor Who over here where people respect me and know who the hell I am. Or I can go to this Marvel grindhouse, you know, grinder that they got going on. And they're like, nah, man, I'm good. You know, you got the Lord of the Rings stuff going on over there. And they're just like, yeah, we don't really care about Captain America. So there you go. So I think Marvel's finding that out. And I think with the death of, and this I don't want to get political here, but with the death of the current wave of entertainment that they've been doing that hasn't really been profitable. With the slowdown of that, I wouldn't say the death of it. With the slowdown of that, and the whole slowdown of the industry due to the streaming bubble bursting, because everybody finally figured out, oh, how can we put all these multi-million-dollar movies on here and charge you $6? Doesn't work. So I think they figured that out. And
when it just like disappears, like whatever project into Pandora's box of like, where is it at? How much is it making? And folks like us are like, oh, we'll never see that again.
We'll never see that. I mean, streaming residuals are garbage. That's coffee.
You a little phlegmy?
No. I got throat because of the
I got some
dairy.
whiskey back there. It's like I think it's still been before noon.
What's that?
I got some whiskey back there behind that curtain.
We might be into that.
Yeah. Tennessee whiskey brought to you by Nelson Greenbrier of Tennessee.
I saw that back there,
like
right behind the stairs.
Yeah, that was apparently the first Tennessee whiskey with the same logo since I'm going to get this wrong, 47.
All right.
Yeah, I just went there 2 days ago.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great. Very nice people.
Love whiskey.
Austin Plain, I love you.
So you got that, and add all that together, and we're in a weird time. There's been nothing, very little work to be had in Atlanta, in LA. There's been some good shows like Landman.
Yeah.
Don't know if you started that. Have you started that?
Nope.
Oh man, it's a great show.
Well, what service is it on? Because I probably don't have it because it's just another freaking death by 1,000 cuts of streaming services.
I think it's Hulu. No, it's is it Disney Plus? No, Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus. Yeah, Paramount Plus. And it's Billy Bob Thornton.
Okay.
Who's always a fan favorite asshole. And he's an oil
tycoon.
No, he works for an oil tycoon.
Oh, okay.
So he goes out and gets the land. Like if they want to drill over here, he goes out and secures the mineral rights to the land and then negotiates the how we're going to do
prospector.
it. Yeah. But he's negotiating it with cartels and people who don't really, aren't normally
roughnecks.
Yeah. They don't really take too kindly to folks. So it's a little over the top, some stuff. It's typical Taylor Sheridan, the way he writes stuff, it's the same. It's the same show with just different characters.
Yeah.
And a different theme. Because he did Yellowstone.
Right.
1826 and 1974 and all those other, whatever. I got the dates wrong, like the whiskey. So
1847.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's a good show. So there are good shows that are being filmed. And I think right now we're in that, like you said, we're in that they greenlit everything and they're like, screw you, we're going overseas. And oh shit, it sucks over here, but we've already got things greenlit. But I'm hearing promising.
Well, and then now we're just coming off the holiday, and traditionally for holiday everything kind of stops, shuts down. So then it's like, okay, well, now we're waiting for that, and after the new year, it's really going to start ramping up.
Well, that's what I'm hearing. Yeah. I mean, I'm really hearing. I hear this from different sources.
Are we going to be on the couch again 6 months from now having the same conversation?
I hope we're not. I hope we're on the casting couch getting roles for films.
Well, and I tell you, I imagine like everything is just like, it's just this constant back and forth, and the pendulum has swung so far that traditionally it would swing back in the favor of how we operate and the shows we like to work on and the things we create. But my concern is with what technology has done for the landscape.
Yeah.
As the pendulum swings back, it's going to hook up to another, system where it's swinging into the future, and like, things are going to get clipped.
Man, at this point in time, AI can realistically do a car chase.
Yeah.
Right? And that's car chases are bread and butter stunt work. They're not so great with the fighting, I don't think yet, with like people fighting. But did you see the AI? There's like an AI movie, like a bank robbery movie or something.
No.
They did a car chase in.
It looks good.
Looks pretty damn good. Now I hate it. I want to burn it at the stake. But it's going to look good. But here's my goofball conspiracy theory.
Yeah, hit me.
By the time it gets good enough for them to make a full Hollywood movie, AI's done killed us off anyway.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
Then what do we got? Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, right. We're
Okay.
We're going to work right up until the freaking biohazard.
We love
gets
our
released.
AI overlords. You guys are the best.
Yeah, we love you. We
Yeah.
love you. Don't kill us.
Not yet.
Yeah, let me at least retire.
Well, I mean, still, I imagine there's going to be, purists. It's like, we want to see the live action. We want to know that it actually happened and it was actually dangerous.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
and that'll always be a thing. But the reality is, as far as liability is concerned, as far as financials are concerned, if people can do it cheaper, they will. And if people can do it safer, they will. And so I can, harp all day about, boots on the ground and it's real. And, I want to feel that hit. And it's like, well, eventually they just don't want to pay for that hit.
People forget, man, and I see this a lot because I'm on this group on Facebook called Crew Stories.
I'm on Crew Stories.
You're on Crew Stories. Okay,
Yeah.
so everybody in Crew Stories, man, the Crew Stories are great, and it's finally getting back to Crew Stories and not fucking garbage that it was for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
But people forget, and they're like, oh yeah, the producers need to see us as people, and they need to know that we need sleep. And look, your spinal fluid doesn't take out the toxins and all this if you don't get. And it's like, you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. But it ain't gonna fucking happen.
Yeah.
You know why? Because you forget that producers are the same as you are. There's no difference in the two of you. You both are trying to make money to support whatever it is you want to support, whether it's, kids or kids' college or Ferrari or, whatever it is you want, you're trying to make money to support that. And so if a producer can say, you tell a producer you need 4 trucks for set deck, the producer's immediately going to say, how about 2? So you have to learn that, you're right. We should get more sleep. Yeah, we should have 10-hour days. Yeah, we should, all this stuff. I'm in agreement, man. I don't know how the fuck it'll work, but I'm in agreement that you need it.
Well, and so that is a reality. But just as I said before we even started recording today, it's like if it was easy, everybody would do it. And so there's opportunities in this life that are for your own making. And if you don't want to do it, then get out. And so you mentioned Crew Stories, like I see a lot of GoFundMes, and I've seen a lot of talk about like, hey, I was talking to an attorney about bankruptcy. I can't stomach this anymore. Where it's like, that's the conversations I see on Crew Story these days.
Yes.
So
it's been a lot of like tragedy.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey man, you chose to do this job.
Yeah.
You put yourself.
It's like being in the NFL. What a blessing if you can play at that level, but you're getting into how many car accidents per day, per game. It's like, no shit that's bad for you, but that's the opportunity presented, and it was up to you to take it or not.
Yeah. So, you know what? I hate to say this, but yeah, man, you get concussions. But you know what? That's fucking football, man.
Yeah.
That's football. Now, don't come back 25 years later and say, we need to revamp the whole game into touch football because you got concussions playing the game. You knew what the fuck you were getting into to do it. It's like I've said it before with the stunt world. You see new stunt people and they're like, hey man, what do you think about driving that car? Blah, blah. My life's not worth that much. Great. But you signed the contract. Like we told you what we needed. You said you could do it. And here we are.
Yeah.
Your life is worth exactly how much is on that contract when you signed it.
Yeah.
I tell this story, dude, and I think I may have told this story in the last one about the guy who took a job. He got capped, I think it was, shot, fell into the water, right? Falls in, doesn't come up, like fucking sinks. And the coordinator's standing there, and he's like, go get him. So the fucking safety team jumps in, grabs this guy, pulls him up. And the coordinator's like, what the fuck, dude? The guy said, I can't swim. He's like, what do you mean you can't swim? I told you what you were doing, and you said you could do it. It's like, no, I can't swim, but I really needed the day.
Mm.
It's like, man, that's the thing. People are needing the day so much that they're willing to die for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you have just ruined your reputation. And had you become a corpse, you would have ruined the stunt coordinator's reputation. You would have ruined, the fucking first AD. You're just taking down the whole machine on that show.
Mm-hmm.
And if you survived, it would have been worse because you'd have come up and then you'd been like, yeah, I'm going to fucking sue them. It's like, man, I see that so much. This new, and here's the thing, I was the new breed. To the old guys in the industry, I was the new breed. But, I'm 55 and I'm seeing the new breed now, and they're scaring me. They're like, man, I can do that.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, the nature of the business that we're in, it is very perilous as such.
Yes.
And so the danger is real.
Yeah.
But as far as individuals and what the lengths they'll go to for $1 these days, I think that's a universal sentiment.
It is.
And people are putting themselves into terrible situations, and you take it any number of ways for a conversation. I don't think we're in a good place overall. And it is unique that the price point is so high for a lot of these days that exist within our industry.
Yeah.
But it makes people a little gooky.
It makes people put their own personal safety aside.
Which I will do every day. Call me up. Where you at?
Yeah. Because look at it. You can go as a stunt person, and on a base day, you can come out of there after taxes with about $1,000, $900, and that's just for 8 hours.
And well fed.
Well, now I've been hearing stories of Crafty's. Crafty's taking a hit lately.
I just line my pants with plastic, the pockets.
Yeah, like little baggies, and make a Batman fat man utility belt. And but yeah, so that's just for an 8-hour day. And a lot of times you'll go and sometimes you may only be there 4 hours. And then sometimes you may be there 14 hours. But then you're there 14 hours and you do a reasonable stunt. You're going to come out of there $1,800 to $2,000 a day after taxes. So the people see this and they're like, oh shit, I can do that. I'm over here at some gym paying $1,500 a month and I can go make $2,000 in a day.
Yeah.
So they're going to say, well, okay, you got to do this high fall. You're going to fall 3 stories and you're going to land in this airbag. And they're like, oh yeah, I totally do it. And here comes the other issue with that. Stunt coordinators are hobbled so much by the directors. So it used to be, the old guys, they were like, all right, yeah, we got a high fall. I'm going to use this guy. And the director said, okay. Nowadays, stunt coordinator says, yeah, we got this high fall you want. Director says, oh yeah, give me some resumes. I want to look at them.
That's true.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
No, you're not going to look. You're going to take this guy because this guy's not going to fucking die doing it. Well, no, I got to see this. And the coordinators are like, okay. And they give them 3 resumes and one of them may be a driver. And the director's like, that's the guy. And some coordinators, it may be their buddy. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get it this day. I've been on sets where it's been like, yeah, we're gonna give this guy a day. They're gonna do a car roll. Have they ever done a car roll? No. This is their first one. How the hell is that even a thought process in your mind?
Yeah. Well, so you have a conversation like this, and when we're talking about liability and AI and all these things, it's like stunt world's still Wild West.
Yeah, and in ways it is, yeah.
And when there's things like that where you're having to navigate, ding dong directors or producers that are trying to force a heavy hand, and then they see that they can just put a face on some Joe Blow nobody, then it just like
And and even think when they don't even need a nobody, The next thing you know, stunt people are sitting at home.
Well, so to transition, what are you supposed to do? What does a John Cooper do?
Man, John Cooper plays video games now.
Yeah. And John Cooper, if you don't know, has the Poop Shack. And if you're not watching, you should, because it's high quality content about films for you to watch. And he'll tell you how bad they suck.
And you know what? We were talking about me starting that the last time I was here.
That's true.
And I actually started it.
How many did you put out?
I think I got 9 or 10 out.
Nice.
But only a few ended up on YouTube. The rest
Okay.
were on my own personal thing. And then to change the subject, I lost
The momentum.
I lost the momentum because movies sucked so bad. And if they sucked so bad, I didn't even want to see them to make fun of them.
Yeah.
You know, I think the last one I watched that I did the raw footage of the Poop Shack on was Red One.
Mm-hmm.
And now here's the flip side. I loved Red One. I thought Red One was great. I did picture cars on Red One. You know, we built all the snowmobiles and all the cool stuff. And the stunt work was fabulous. You know, I think we've talked about Greg Remender. He was the guy that was the stunt coordinator on it. Fantastic guy, fantastic team.
Wait, so you built the snowmobiles like TJ?
Yeah, TJ.
I was just
riding
in Nashville with him. Like,
yeah, I saw that.
yesterday.
I saw your pictures on that.
Yeah, seeing him, and he's from Florida. TJ does not have a background in the snow.
TJ did not ride snowmobiles before he did. Now I've got some footage, and TJ will hate me if I show this to you, but I've got footage of him eating it.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
he would probably be happy to see that go out anyway.
He does. He does the wall ride, and he comes down, and when he comes off the wall, one of his skis like tips and grabs and sends him straight over. And you know what? He jumped back up and did it again.
Undoubtedly, because he is a man of steel.
Oh yeah, never made another mistake.
What a freaking pro! The fact that he was able to hop on those and perform.
Now here's the thing: the fact that he was able to hop on because he wasn't even on the show, and we had the guy we got the sleds from, Cody Cam, I think his name is, snowcross, snow sled racer extraordinaire, badass dude. We had him and Troy Smalls, Renault. God, I can't remember his name. Both of those guys, superb. Cody caught COVID, so they were like, "We got to get another guy." In comes TJ, like fresh off the never riding a snowmobile trip, jumps on that thing and is ripping it, dude. And those were the scariest things I'd ever been on. Like they were gnarly.
Well, there was no snow, so already at a bit of a disadvantage,
dude. So I had 3 amazing picture car mechanics. So I was the captain on that, and the coordinator was Casey Richter, who's a fantastic guy. And then I had Zach Southard, who is a motorcycle / mechanic guy, works on a lot of Ducatis, stuff like that. And then I had this guy named Joel Foster, who is a hot rod builder, and Ben Bender, who everybody knows in the community, who's another hot rod fab guy.
Bender Works.
Bender Works. Yeah. And so they did it all. And so we had those skis like cut out with casters in them. And then we had tracks that we ordered and took everything off and cut them down.
Yeah.
And those, I mean, they were 600R race full sleds with slipper clutches. And we would ride those things back and forth to set, you know, across the studio. And they were scary, dude.
Well, and what kind of caster were you running on that?
We got them from
like Office Depot.
So almost no Granger. We got them from Granger. They were a rubber.
Yeah.
They were probably about that big, and they were
not speed rated.
They were not speed rated at all.
After that,
and they were jumping those things off loading docks. They were flying them up on wall rides.
That was super cool.
They jumped Wakanda Hill.
Okay.
Out at where the big fight in Black Panther took place. Cody sailed straight over that hill. And those things, man, we had all the custom fiberglass done at a race shop up in North Georgia. Best place I ever gone. And I went there, and the guy had probably 100 3-rotor Mazda rotary motors in there, which is insanity. And so I'm a Mazda guy. So we had all that done, and to prep, we had so much prep time that everything worked perfect.
Yeah. Don't always get that.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Not at all. I'm thinking last time we talked too, I had just come off One Fast Move.
Yeah.
When
we had all the gang of those dudes on, and
they were great.
Yeah.
Vanderveen and those fellas, they're fantastic. And then we went to the premiere of that.
Good times.
Yeah, good times, good times.
I gotta do I did a game or something. Get some giveaways for Triumph.
You did, yep.
Yeah.
You jumped up, gave T-shirts and all that good stuff. Yeah, man, it's a good time.
It worked out. I actually one of the drawings. They had me pick out different seats in the audience.
Yeah,
Picked out my own seat by chance.
perfect.
Yeah. But I had to give it to somebody else. But it was like 2 track days.
I remember that.
And I was like, oh man, all right, well.
And the guy, I think that got him, or a girl got him, didn't even ride.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I was like, give them to your partner or
I don't even think their partner rode.
whatever. Probably
2
still haven't
track
done
days
it.
in the ether
Well, I'll
somewhere.
take it. If you haven't done it, I'll take it,
Yeah, that I mean the whole industry, I think it's about, now I've heard, and don't quote me, and don't any of the
This
listeners.
is live right now.
Don't quote me. That Trilith is booked solid for the year.
All right. This is not the information I had. When I'd say I'm out of the loop by a couple weeks.
I mean, I don't know what loop I'm in.
Yeah.
But it comes from,
They're probably just booked with studio tours. They always got that golf cart just
no, it's
looping.
stage
Okay.
space is booked. I've heard stage space is booked. I've heard 4 shows are coming into assembly.
Ooh.
I've heard
Well, is this through Teamster Talk or where does this come from?
no, this is a kind of a combo of Teamster Talk,
Okay.
but not Teamster Talk.
Yeah.
It maybe come from a family who's responsible for everything being your pleasure.
Got it. Say less.
Yeah, through a second viable conduit. And so I have caught word that a friend's wife, who's an entertainment lawyer, has been drafting contracts
Okay.
like rolling.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't see it in the trades, but there was, I want to say, a sort of stunt bulletin or something that came out, and there's a lot that's coming that I've seen to Atlanta.
Well, talking with this person, that person, the other person, as uncertain as things may be, coming off of my last year, so even before the strike started, I broke my knee.
Yeah, I remember.
And so there was a substantial period of time that I just couldn't walk, let alone perform or do anything else. I didn't have this show in operation at that point, so I wasn't doing that. That would have been very handy.
Yeah.
But then to do the broken knee into the strike, I was like, when I talk to Meg now or anybody, I'm like, there is no way I can have a year like that again.
Bro,
I say that, and I'm knocking on, everything.
You landed at like the wrong time.
It was
if there was
fantastic.
ever a wrong time,
I just
you
really
ran
wanted
into
to go on hard mode, and
Yeah.
just like now it's just going to be as fruitful or as barren as this year could be. There's no way I can walk right now, which is pretty cool, and so I got that going for me. But overall, I feel like that's how my outlook on this upcoming year is. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
it's only up from here.
And I did catch wind of the studio heads here, and I want to say the governor went out to California and talked to the big studios
About bringing them over.
Yeah, about what's happening. Why are you guys not coming?
Yeah.
What the F, bro?
Well, because they did those. I don't know if it was a year and a half, 2 years ago. Like they locked in those tax incentives. It used to be that they had every year.
It was, yeah.
And now they're like, we have like some 10-year.
Well, there was some stuff going on here that I also caught. I hear a lot of things. And
You got your ear to the ground.
I keep my ear to the ground, and I will say I've been pretty good about predictions being, they've gone kind of the way that I thought they would. Not to toot my own horn, but toot.
Okay.
Anyway, so, and I was hearing that Georgia was having an issue with tax recouping, which of course you always have that in incentive states. That's the first argument that anybody from LA has, is that incentives are never, sustainable. And Georgia, especially because so much of the state, there's so many counties here that so much of the state doesn't really benefit from the tax incentive, but they still have to follow the tax incentive. So that was a big problem getting the tax incentive originally passed, from what I understand, was because counties who were like, down way South Georgia, like, well, we ain't ever seen any, movies. So what do we need this for? And so they got it and got it passed and all that. So what I've heard was happening was the tax incentives were getting back to the studios, but whoever they dealt with, some of those people wouldn't pay their taxes.
More like the bean counters?
Yeah. No, some of the, like, say you go and rent, whatever from this rental place, or you rent it from a person or, picture car place, they weren't paying their taxes back.
Right.
And so they were having a problem with that. So from what I understood, they made it a little tougher to get your tax incentive, your 30% or 35, whatever it is, back. And so that hurt the studios. And so the studios were upset about that. And then I want to say they were upset about like a change or something. I think it was rental cars and hotel rooms. They made those not fall under the tax. This is what I heard. I'm not 100% on this, but, and so on a big show, like say Moana that just wrapped up, that would have been millions of dollars. So I think that hurt things too. And the whole going overseas, which takes us back to our actor friends who wanted everybody to stand the line, toe the line. We're here with you.
Yeah.
And then as soon as everything happened and nothing's happened in the States, where do they go? Right overseas.
Yeah.
And they're going to continue working, but they want you to stand with them and all this. And personally, in my opinion, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion, and people are going to hate me for
Let's
saying
go.
But it's great to say you make $1,500 a day, right? Or as a driver, it's great to say I make $50 an hour. But if I'm not working on anything, I'm not making shit. And I myself, I don't feel the need to make as much as a LA Teamster or a person in LA. I don't have the overhead that a person in LA has. So I don't need it. But to force us all to make as much as someone in LA means there's no real advantage
Interesting.
to coming to Georgia other than 30% tax incentive.
Well, unpopular opinion. Wrong opinion, John. I should be getting paid more money.
Fair. And I think the strikes and the general FU-ness really kind of hurt everything. And that was another reason they went, because producers were pissed.
Yeah.
Now, crews are pissed. Don't get me wrong. There's no reason, we should be out here, but, getting screwed over by these guys making billions. So I'm with those people. I'm with you there. But I myself, I'd rather be working constantly at a little less rate than sitting at home a lot with a high rate.
Well, and that's the rock and a hard place though, right? Where it's like,
It is.
you can't, be a pushover. You got to stand up for yourself and you don't, make change without pushing back. But I think that was a lot of the frustration and to my own lack of information is just like our governing bodies, the people representing us.
Yeah.
That's where it falls apart, where, not disagreeing with you, but at the same time, it's like, well, then what can we do when we feel like the ones representing us aren't in our best interests?
I agree.
If what I read snippets of here and there, I'm like, wow, they're getting raises.
Yeah.
Things seems to be benefiting them on the back end. And
right.
I'm like,
it's a very fine line.
Why?
Yeah, it's a very fine line.
Yeah.
Because
they certainly tell us how hard they're working for us.
They do.
Yeah.
It's a very fine line because as a union, you have to hold them accountable. And while I say I'm happy with working for a slightly lesser rate, but working all the time versus a higher rate and not working as much.
Mm.
I also understand completely and will back my union completely when they go after it, because there are a lot of people that are pro non-union, and there's a lot in Atlanta that are pro non-union, and they'll argue that unions are bad because they drive business away. Yeah, but here's the thing: unions are good too, because that even non-union are still kind of trying to stick with the union around the union thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just didn't have any unions, man, we'd be working 18-hour days for $10 an hour. The union movement was needed. So I see both sides and I see both angles. And, so while I have an unpopular opinion on it, I will stand behind my union, whatever they decide to do. That's why you're in a union.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say, in my experience, I've been in the business for a long time.
Yeah.
But coming over here to the East Coast and pursuing it as I did was with fully the intent of being in the union.
Mm-hmm.
Rates aside, it was just because I wanted that representation, because, freelancing, non-union, running your own business, it's exhausting. You're chasing invoices, you're proving, bottom lines. It's a lot of work.
Yes.
But coming under union with all the bylaws that exist as they do already, it was such a breath of fresh air to put in a day's work and leave knowing that, take a picture of your G, you'll get paid.
You'll get paid.
And, maybe you ate late that day, maybe whatever. It's somebody's job to ensure that you'll be managed accordingly. And that was such a game changer for me, and fully the intent of why I came here. Obviously, maybe not the best timing.
Yeah.
But in the same regard, it really has been the change I was looking for.
Yeah.
And so while I still might not agree with how everything operates, ultimately that's not my job.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, unions are good for a couple things. For the layman, for the working person. And I'm going to try to explain this because my train of thought's a little off on it. But union versus non-union. So if you're a guy who rents a camera package or whatever it is, you're a stunt guy and you work for a non-union production, right? And you say, all right, I did my day and, it was 600 for 8. Well, if the producer comes back and says, yeah, 500 for 8, right? Bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? Totally.
Yeah.
Screw you.
Mm-hmm.
But odds are you're going to lose that fight, right? Because you're going in there. You're like the frog that's all got the air in it going, pew.
Mm-hmm.
You're like that guy. Now, you're on a union show. Okay, it's 600 for 8. Perfect. Producer comes back and says, yeah, it's not going to be that. I'm going to 500. Okay, cool. I'm going to call my friend over here.
Yeah.
And he's going to come down here and stomp all in your shit. And you're going to pay me that 600 for 8.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like the little guy in a fight. Are you the little guy in a fight fighting by yourself, or you're the little guy in a fight with a big friend standing by the pool table that everybody kind of knew was there but didn't think you'd call him over? That's union versus non-union.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you can't go in there if you're pro non-union, walk into a producer's office and negotiate your rate. That's it. That's it right there. Hey man, I'm Johnny Cooper and I deserve $1,200 for a day. Producer. Yeah, no. We're going to go get this guy at 600.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Well, I'm screwed. Now, as a union person, go in there and negotiate your rate. You don't have to, because your rate's already negotiated, because some bigger guys over here said, hey, this is where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to argue for the next 6 months to figure out what this rate is, and then we're all going to follow it. Now, producers will try, and, that's why I love the Fall Guy movie so much, because they actually argued an NDB in that movie.
Mm.
I mean, and for anyone who doesn't know what an NDB is, it's a non-disturbed breakfast, I think it is. Non-disturbed something.
My brain just says, no doing business.
Not doing business. Yeah, exactly. You're not doing business during that time. And so If you get called in at 8 o'clock, boy, I had a bad dream over here. If you get called in, if crew calls at 8 o'clock and you get called in at 6 o'clock, at noon you should have a meal, right? But you can't because you're working, because the whole crew's still working. So you get what's called meal penalties. So an NDB resets your call time to their call time, to the company's call time, meaning they're going to sit you down for 15 minutes and they can't disturb you. They cannot say, there's breakfast over there if you want it. No, they have to take you aside and set you down and say, you have 15 minutes, do whatever it is you need to do. No one's going to bother you. Mm-hmm. But what they'll do is they'll send you through hair and makeup. Say, yeah, there's breakfast over there if you want to get it. And then at the end of the day, they will call it an NDB. I have seen people literally ball up fists and get ready to go. There's a guy, good friend of mine, producing partner, as a matter of fact, who almost lost it on
really
Selma. Yeah, because the second, who's kind of in charge of the G in base camp, she kind of had this thing about screwing folks out of their NDBs. And I don't know why she did it. I don't know the reasoning behind it. I don't know if they told her to do it. But if you
pretty
don't
clear
catch
it was
it,
intentional.
it was intentional. Yeah, because it was multiple shows of, and she had got him on past shows, and he went ape shit, dude. He was mad, like furious mad, talking to this girl, and she tried to get him in trouble, tried to get him fired, and the coordinator was like, "What are you doing, man?" And he's like, "Fuck her. She has done this to me on multiple shows. I want the NDB." And then in the Fall Guy, you saw him arguing in a very not like my friend, but in a very polite way about NDBs, because they will screw you. Because NDBs, I mean, meal penalties can make $500-$600 a day.
Yeah. Well, I have so much respect for you guys, and I give you guys so much credit. A lot of my friends that are just so talented at knowing all the ins and outs, they will look at their paperwork and they will sit on the phone.
Yeah.
As cool as little cucumbers.
I don't know any of this. I have people that do it for me.
I need those people because they will know every dollar and cent that is owed for all the right reasons. And I'll shout out Mr. McDonald. That dude is like a freaking accountant.
Tay-Tay?
Yeah, he goes and
bomb.
he'll just like, hey, yeah, and like, as politely as can be, make the person feel as dumb as they should.
Yeah.
Because they get something wrong. He goes, yeah, well, I'm actually looking at it right now, and I have all my information, and like he'll walk him back through it, and he gets what he deserves.
Because
Taylor, I won't fight for an NDB. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, Taylor is a guy who has a wonderful disposition. Like, his disposition is even keel. Robert Shavers is another one, just even, and straight through. Doesn't get mad. Doesn't get sad.
I've seen him get sassy.
Oh, he'll get sassy. Well, he'll get sassy with his friends. Yeah, he's a sassy pants. But like dealing professionally with people, he's one. Regis is another one. Regis Harrington is another guy who's just one of those guys. Taylor,
another show alumni.
Oh,
Regis, where you at?
Oh, so these three guys: Taylor, Shavers, Regis. If you have a problem with those guys, and if you tell me about a problem with those guys, in my mind, I will immediately look at you and think you're the fucking problem.
Yeah.
Because those guys don't make problems. They're just three, and there's many more. Mm-hmm. But they're three of the most solid, straight shooting, easygoing, not getting angry, even when there's an issue.
Very professional.
Very professional people. And I love being around that.
Well, when you're on set all day doing this, that, and the other, other than being good at what you do, you got to also be a good time, because nobody wants to hang out with the stress cadet or a complainer, or because eventually you're going to be in a situation that sucks, and you can either just endure it and make light of it, or you can just be miserable and make everyone else miserable.
Yeah. It's that's the thing I've always said. I think I said it the last time too. It's like, you can be the best stuntman in the world, but if people can't hang around you for more than 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, you're not going to work. because when you're on that set, you may not know this guy. You know, like I met the Aussies on the Suicide Squad. Didn't know any of them from Adam. Got called in for one day, ended up being 5 weeks. And everything they did, no matter how bad things were, they were the greatest. You know, and I watch these guys, the 4-wheel drive 24/7 guys. I don't know if you've ever seen those on YouTube. Watch those guys. One of them could have a crocodile on his leg. They can be stuck in the outback with no extra tires, out of gas, food's on ration, and they're the happiest guys in the world. And that's how those Aussie guys were. And those guys, to me, epitomize, grace under pressure. Yeah. Because that's what we are. I mean, as stunt performers, we will sit around for hours. We're professional speed sitters. We will sit around for hours waiting for that moment where you have to go out and do something really stupid, dangerous. Yeah. And keep your wits about you and pray that your planning has gotten you through and that your safety team is 100%.
You always know who's working based on how many TikToks and Instagram reels you get. Because if they're just sending out dozens of them, they're sitting on set. Yeah. And they got the time to do it.
Exactly.
We see you, Dan.
We see you, Dan. I love Dan. Yeah. Another. Have you seen Johnny Stunts, bro?
Yes.
I love.
Why
Johnny
do I know
Stunts,
that?
Bro. He's the guy with the scrunched up face, and he gives you the exact everything stereotype of stunt person.
Oh, maybe I haven't seen it. Sounds good.
Oh my God, watch that guy.
Yeah.
I finally met that guy in real life.
Is he here local?
Yes, he's here local.
Johnny Stunts, bro.
Cool guy.
Is that what it is? You all right?
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, bro.
It's his cameo.
I love it.
He's working on his residuals. He just wants to make sure he gets his screen time.
Johnny Stunts, bro. Watch him. He's doesn't have that many videos, but the videos that he has they are.
Maybe I can have him on the show as that character.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could do a Johnny Stunts, bro, Bad Beard podcast. I'll ask him. He might do it.
Well, specific to the Bad Beard podcast, having John on today serves multiple purposes. Not only is he a great guest, good conversation, and all the stories that one could handle, but in this world, in the film business, and all the things stunts, he is that. Also a motorcycle man, and we've had many conversations as such. And he's got bikes in his basement, and so even talking to him about I'm heading out to AIM and the One Show. There's a lot of crossover there.
That's going to be good for you.
I'm excited.
I love it.
Yeah, like a traditional B2B environment. I'm excited to get out in front of some folks that I think can find value in what it is I'm doing here. I think.
Where is that show?
Las Vegas. Heard of it?
Ooh.
Yeah. On February.
Don't lose money.
5th and 6th. I don't gamble.
Good.
I'm not a gambler. This is the least appealing. Maybe it's just because like every dollar I work for, I'm like, I earn.
And you got the serial number memorized.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I know where this dollar is going.
Yeah.
But no, that's never been a draw for me. You're a big gambler?
No, hell no.
What about even on cars or like racing or sports?
Maybe? Buying cars, I've gambled my entire life, I guess you'd call it, because I've kind of come up craps a lot.
What was your worst buy?
Oh man, there's so many, dude.
Yeah,
there's so many. Like there's a difference between worst buy and dumbest buy. Yeah, there's some dumb buys that I've done.
Like the second you hand cash over, you're like, oh, that was a mistake.
No, it's even before that. It's before I hand the cash over, and I'm like, God, what are you doing, man? And my little kid brain is like, who cares? It's bad. There's things in my driveway now that I'm like, God, why? What did I do?
Says the guy that owns his own porta potty.
I do, yeah. My wife hates that thing. She loves that I'm being creative and doing the podcast, but having a portable toilet, as I call it, the Poopcast studio in your driveway.
It's not a look.
Next to a freaking 6-wheel drive Russian communications truck.
Yeah.
is not a good look for happy marriage.
Well, I'm excited as the temperature drops even lower still to spend some time in your basement because I think the idea is right to move that thing inside.
The porta-tool. Yeah, the porta-tool. Yeah, well.
One, would we like trim it down and rebuild it as such that it's a little truncated? Like
I think so. I think,
could, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'd like to widen it and put a second
For a guest.
stool, so to speak, in there. Whoops.
This episode brought to you by, who is it?
Rory Cobb Film Cars.
Rory Cobb Film Cars. You can Venmo me later.
He owns a Magnum PI 308.
Oh,
yeah, great.
You ever done a deal with him where you go, shoot?
No, but he is letting me drive it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I've got to go do that. So the basement.
Yeah.
Right. So now I have a new car that's in there, the Toyota.
Yeah.
I've been into Garbage Car is what I'm a Garbage Car Kids on Facebook, which is a great.
Not affiliated with
group.
Garbage Pail Kids?
No, but
Okay.
sort of.
But sort of.
I've got some stickers I'll bring you.
Okay, cool.
And so I've been doing old Japanese cars for 30 years. I mean, I'm in with the Black Cloud Battalion guys who are fantastic. They have a thing called the Vintage Class Meet every month. It's the third Sunday of every month at Pickneyville Park here. And there's just amazing old cars and old Japanese stuff. And because I have a Boso Zoku motorcycle.
Yep.
I think you've seen.
Mhm.
And so it's one of the few in the States, and which was from a movie.
Which film was that?
Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
And the Winter Soldier.
The TV show.
Okay.
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I believe Austin rode that bike.
Austin Seifert?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
he was the
fun.
guy who wrote it in the TV
Yeah.
show, and now I have it in my basement. And I found it on One Fast Move when we were
that's
doing
right.
picture bikes for that.
Yeah.
I found it in a far tucked away, dusty corner of Cinema Vehicle Services.
Yeah.
And so now I get these old Japanese cars, and I was like, yeah, I'll just leave this outside. But then it was getting really cold. Like, man, I don't know if they actually put coolant or straight water in this thing. So now I had to condense the basement again, and the area where I wanted to poop cast is filled back up. So
Okay.
which is fine. It's all movable.
Yeah.
And
We're just
full.
going to do a overhauling.
Yeah, there's so many
Because people
treasures.
want the poop cast back.
Man, I'll tell you, I love doing it. It
Yeah.
didn't get a lot of.
That's not why we do it.
I know.
That's
I know.
not why we do it.
I know.
It's just right here. This is it.
That's true. Now you know what? You know what gave me the best views?
Yeah.
One Fast Move.
Okay.
I had
Because
the
it was
most
all
views.
Cutler on repeat.
It was.
It's just-
Honey, give me your phone. Just give me just different IP addresses. Yeah, it did pretty well. And
Kidding. Come on, Dave. Come on.
oh, we love Dave. And Kelly, the director, saw it and loved it. Who I saw at we saw
Vintage
him
Fest.
at Vintage Fest.
My
in
1 year
Barber.
anniversary.
That was your 1 year anniversary. I'll be damned. How
Yeah.
about that? That was a fun day. I didn't get to see much of you.
I was working, man.
You were all
I
over.
was
dude.
working, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to BMW, Motorrad
Yep.
USA,
Yep.
big fan.
Man, they had an awesome booth of it. I love that new adventure
Yeah.
because it looks like something right out of Cyberpunk 2077,
Yeah.
which is one of my favorite video games.
You can go anywhere and get there fast.
Golly, and
Yeah.
it does. It looks like their adventure motorcycle in Cyberpunk, and I was like, man, they ought to do a crossover with Cyberpunk on this.
Man, you know what? They actually have a bike coming out. I forget what it's called. And I'm supposed to probably not even say anything, but it's a concept bike. It's I'm gonna make up something. It's a GST 40.
Well, you can't
69.
get in trouble for saying something if it ain't true.
That's true. But
Well, now
it
you
is.
can.
It
but
looks. Y'all show it to you after this. It looks really cool, but
All right.
I think it's going into production. But similar in the sense that it's like it's a looker.
Man, I'll tell you what, man. So many of the new, because Cyberpunk had the Arch motorcycles
Mm-hmm.
because it had Keanu Reeves in it as a voice
That makes
actor.
sense.
And it had his arches as like, so you can go around there and get these crazy cyberpunk looking arch motorcycles in that game and just riding around. And
I've never ridden an Arch, but their shop was in what was the city called? When I was living in LA, it was like over by it's like over by LAX, just in that area. And I would cruise by just like trying to catch different bikes outside because it was kind of on a loop that I would take.
yeah.
Sooner than later, I'll get on one of those.
I'll tell you, man, if there's one guy in film that I would like to meet, it would be that guy.
Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, he's like, I don't know, man. He's just one of the coolest. Seems like one of the coolest guys riding subways and.
Well, I've had the fortune of meeting him a couple times.
Have you?
Fully just in passing. I was shooting for Ducati. We were at Laguna Seca.
Yeah.
And so they do, what do they call it? Ducati Island? I don't know.
Was it Ducati Isle? I know it was Isle of Triumph.
Everybody kind of puts a little motif on it, but they, build out a whole footprint. And so I was shooting whatever I was shooting, and he came through our thing, and so I had a chance just to a quick little hey, you done?
Man, I was fangirl out so much.
Well,
I mean, it would be this kind of fangirl, like, hey, how you doing? But in my inside, I'd be like, guy's done everything.
I just assume he wants to be my best friend. That's what I always think about anybody. I'm like, they probably just want to be my best friend.
Yeah,
that's what I imagine.
I think he probably wants to be your best friend too.
Where you at, Keanu?
Yeah. Come on over, man. Come in the back of your basement.
Ride the Arch on over.
I mean, yeah. Or take Marta. Or an Uber. I mean, whatever. Whatever floats your fancy. Because he rides subways, man.
Oh, is that what you were saying?
Yeah, he rides a subway in New York.
He's not on the freaking Marta.
Yeah,
He's probably somewhere where the public transit works well.
Oh yeah, I mean Atlanta.
Where are you gonna go? I took the train once because one of my buddies, Elliot, who is also an alumni for the show, me, him, and Noah, and we just went on a photo day because I hadn't ridden the Marta ever because it doesn't serve a purpose for wherever I'm trying to get to.
Man,
it's so niche, or like it helps out a few people.
It's interesting.
But I rode it, yeah. Oh, and not even gonna go there, but one of the Marta bus drivers just got shot for $1.50.
Oh,
this was last week.
Get out of town.
I did. Chattanooga. We'll talk about it next time, guys.
Nice.
Thanks for coming, Johnny Coop.
That was a freaking segue, dude. That was awesome.
So this is the time of the show where you get a chance to talk about anything relevant going on in your life. That is your camera on you.
Oh, this is a new part.
Yeah, I'm working out different.
I don't know. I don't know.
Give us a perspective date of our next poop shack. Oh. And where to find you. Just give us what your socials are.
Okay, so the social is Johnny McDuder on Instagram and Johnny Cooper on Facebook. And you'll find me because I'm sitting on a Harley in a... No, it wasn't. It wasn't a Harley. It was the bobber that I bought to put in the kitchen that didn't run that I gave to Jason Gupton, who is another person that I love very much. And then Johnny's Poop Shack on YouTube, where I review smelly movies so that you don't have to go smelly them.
Go like and subscribe, friends.
Yeah.
And until next time.
Yeah, there's more coming. I've got to.
Yeah, I mean, you should stay regular, at least once a day. The doctor says twice a day if you have a big active.
Once a week is what I was shooting for, but
I was referring to bowel movements.
Oh, well, it is the poop shack.
Yeah,
so it kind of fits. But yeah, the quality of movies that were out was just terrible. So I was losing. That's the thing. I wasn't losing faith in the poop cast.
You see Carry On?
No.
Start with that one. That's a lot of our friends did that.
Oh, okay.
Check it out.
I think I'm going to do the raw of Red One again.
Okay.
And release it. Because I did talk. But see, another thing. So there's another guy. I don't want to take up too much time, but there's another guy.
That's all we got, baby.
Who does Lukey Music.
Okay.
Is his name. And he does the music versions of cringy Tinder conversations.
Oh.
They're awesome. And I reached out to him, and he gave me some pointers. So
nice.
I'm going to put those pointers into play.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lukey Music, Lewkey music, I think it is.
All right.
He's fresh. He's new.
Lukey Music.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I've got to get something back.
We'll get that ball rolling again. I'll help you out as I do.
Oh man, thanks. I love you for it.
Yeah, we'll see
Appreciate
it get going. Well, friends, I hope you enjoyed another fantastic episode of Bedbeard's podcast here in the basement, doing what we do. My next stop will be AIM Expo, February 4th, 5th. Then in the One Moto Show, 6th and 7th. Those dates are likely wrong, so check them yourself. That'll be in Las Vegas, the One Moto's first auxiliary show.
Mm-hmm.
Usually they're in Oregon. They're expanding. Great for them.
I love it.
Yeah, but I'll be there working with our friends from Vana. And so I hope to see you out there. And until next time, friends. Goodbye. Chattanooga, huh?
I love it. You weren't going to let that Chattanooga go right yet.
Well, so what I was going to ask you about, I forgot there. So what was the